Camila, you have written a splendid book, Systemic Corruption, Ideas for an Anti-Oligarchic Republic. And this book really brings forward a very important conceptual toolbox that is very much something that liberals feel annoyed by, if we could say. The reason is because you expose how liberalism and democracy don't really work together, and how instead of just pointing the finger to the bad present of the moment or the corruption of one individual, we should understand corruption in a more systemic way. So that is actually part of how things work, not how things don't work. Can you explain to us a little bit about how your theoretical framework that you describe in your research can help us today understanding what's happening?
So thank you very much for the invitation to be able to speak to people about my work and how is it relevant to the economic welfare of individuals, not only here in Tulsa, but everywhere else. So part of my work is to actually theorize how the system is rigged. We have this idea that there is an unfairness that is at the base of our system, that even if we work hard and do everything well, something can go wrong, and basically we are left behind, crushed by debt, and basically we have no power to have any influence on the rules of the game that structure our work and daily life. So part of my aim is to understand that the structure is the Constitution itself, the rules of the game that are to blame for the individual precarity of people in a way, and a staggering inequality that you just conveyed between the few and the many. Of course, if we think about a democracy as a system in which the majority at least is in power, theoretically, we would understand that at least, the majority would be benefited by the rules of the game because they are influencing the rules of the game. However, if the 1% is appropriating 90% of the wealth that is collectively created, then of course the rules that regulate the exchanges and the accumulation of wealth is not really fair, right? It's skewed toward the few. And this is not a bug in the system, it's really a feature. And this is part of the work that I have been trying to convey. And I go back to the organization of power in society. One of the first democracy, or at least abstractly a democracy, formally a democracy in the world, is the United States. So it's very interesting that we have the first modern democracy, which is also the most powerful economy in the world, and with the most powerful currency. In a way, there is an overlap. So it's a very interesting case study for us to see how inequality actually is structural and is reproduced, and is not a thing that goes wrong somewhere along the line. So part of the aim is to also desacralize, or kind of try to bring more details into the narratives that we are fed as citizens of a country. The story that is always 100% good, if you will, or we try to kind of smooth around the edges or get rid of the bad things in the narrative. And basically the few who are the ruling class have been creating and weaving this narrative from the very beginning. And today we are in a moment in which that narrative is breaking down. And therefore, we are more comfortable seeing the structural patterns of corruption. That is not a bad apple, some person that we can withdraw from power. It's not a piece of the system that we can reform and all will be fine. It is actually the system itself that was designed to basically reproduce the hierarchy and the accumulation of wealth of the few, and protect the few from redistributive claims, from the people basically asking a fair share and having an effective demand on representative government. So from this perspective, I define today a system. Our democracy is an oligarchic democracy, a democracy that has been captured by the powerful few, and the people have really no power to influence government. And this is the product of a structural process that I call systemic corruption, that basically means the further accumulation of wealth and power in few hands, not against the law, but because of the law, because the law allows and the regulations allow for this enrichment legally, right? So this is basically the idea of systemic corruption, that the system is rigged, not individuals bringing the ruin to the system.